Okay, now today we're going to learn about MongoDB. We've already installed it. We've installed the program folder in our C drive. If you're on a Mac on Westminster Anywhere, for Westminster students that have Macs, you would have put this in your H drive. But since I have a PC, I have the MongoDB folder in my C drive. I also have the data folder in my C drive. So I have a data folder in my C drive. Inside my data folder is a DB folder. And inside my DB folder is the primer data set that we downloaded from the Canvas page. So inside my DB folder is my primer data set. Inside my C drive is my MongoDB folder that was unpacked from the MongoDB website, unzipped. Inside it is the license and a bin folder that has all the Mongo programs. And in this tutorial, we're going to use Mongo exe. We're going to use mongod.exe, and we're going to use Mongo import.exe. We're going to use all three of those programs. Okay. So the first thing you have to do is you have to start two command prompts. CMD. We're going to start two command prompts. Let me fit it to the window here. And I need to be able to see my bar down here. We're going to start two of them. So you type CMD in the search bar. Okay. Oh. Okay, I have two command prompts. Let me shrink this up a little bit. Okay, the first thing I have to do is I have to get the path. I have to get the path to the programs. All the programs we're going to use are in the bin folder. So I got to change the prompt in the command prompt to this path here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type CD. I'm going to paste the path I need. Now, if you're a Westminster student doing this on Westminster Anywhere, this is the H drive, and this is H. Okay? So here's my command I wrote. CD space, and then the path, right? And when I hit enter, my prompt is different. Okay, now I got to do the same thing in the other command prompt. So this is the original command prompt. So I type CD space paste. Oh, I got to copy it again. Sometimes your clipboard gets cleared. So I'm going to copy that again. These are my Mongo programs. They're in the bin folder, which is in the MongoDB folder, which is on your C drive. Okay, then right here, I'm going to right click and change directory. So both of them have the same command prompt, right? Both have the same command prompt. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type MongoD.exe. Remember, that's one of the programs in this bin folder, right? There's mongo.exe. There's mongo.exe. So we're going to run this. This is the server. It's basically the program that runs underneath Mongo. And we're going to hit enter. Notice what happened to the title up here. It went from command prompt to command prompt dash mongo.exe. Over here, we just have command prompt, right? Whoa. But when we run that program mongo.exe, this now, we can't type anything in it. So I'm trying to type and I can't get anything in there. So that's just the program running underneath everything. Okay, so we're going to minimize that. We're not going to close it out. We're going to minimize it. All right. Now over here, we're going to import. We're going to do Mongo import, right? Because again, that's one of the programs. Mongo import is right here. Where's it at? Mongo import. There's Mongo import.exe. So we're going to do Mongo import, and we're going to have a space, then a double dash, and then we're going to name the database test space dash dash collection. We're named the collection restaurants. Now, if you misspell it here, you got to misspell it later. And then dash dash drop, and then dash dash file, and then we're going to get the path to the primer data set. So remember the primer data set is in this folder, right? If you're Westminster student using Westminster Anywhere, that would be H right there. We're going to copy that and then paste it right here. And then after the DB, I'm going to type primer. Let me pull that out a little bit. Dash dataset dot JSON. Okay. So after the prompt there, I'm typing Mongo import space double dash DB space test space double dash collection space restaurants space double dash drop space double dash file. And this right here is the path to our data set that we downloaded from Canvas. So I copied that. I right clicked to copy that. I'm going to show you what it looks like in Google Chrome. So I got Google Chrome here, right? I'm going to paste that path here. So you got c/data/db/primer-dataset.json. When I hit enter, you'll see what the data set looks like, right? This is the data set. This right here, well, my computer's kind of clunky. It's thinking. I can't scroll through until it. There you go. Now we're scrolling through. Okay, and we got to find the start of a record. Okay, here's the start of a record right here. Address 351 West 57th Street. Zip code 10019. Manhattan. Irish cuisine. Its first score was cleanliness score from the Department of Health was a grade of A. And the name of it is DJ Reynolds Pub and Restaurant. That's a record. That's a restaurant. And there's 25,000 plus such records in this data set. Okay, there's 25,000 of them, right? If we do a control F here, and we type KFC, and we hit enter, we'll get all of the KFCs in Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Queens. This KFC is also Taco Bell. It is in Brooklyn. It's on McGinnis Boulevard in Brooklyn, and it got scores of grades of A for cleanliness. Okay, so that's what our data set looks like. Okay, so this should work. I just verified that that path works, right? That path works. If I hit enter, hit enter, I'm going to get the 25,359 restaurants that are in this data set. Okay. Let me move this back in here. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to open up the Mongo shell. Mongo shell is basically the interface, right? Mongo is a command prompt, a command line, NoSQL system. So in order to get this shell, I got to type Mongo. And now notice what happened up here. Command prompt dash Mongo. And then what happened to the prompt? It's just now a caret. So I'm going to type CLS to clear the screen. And remember, our database was, we named the database test. So we're going to type use space test. And we switched the database to test. Okay. Now the first command I'm going to use, the first command I'm going to write is dbrestaurants.find and I'm going to find the record. I'm going to find the restaurant or deli named Suda Foods. So I need a squiggly bracket, and I'm going to type the name of the field, in this case name. The name of the field is name. All right, this is a variable. Restaurant name is the variable name. I want to find Suda, E-U-D-A, Foods. I've been there before with my wife. She's from Brooklyn. I'm going to close this out with a squiggly bracket and then a parenthesis. Okay. And I hit enter and I get the restaurant. Okay, this is a Jewish kosher restaurant, deli. The name is Suda Foods. It got A scores, right? The latest grade was A. It's in Brooklyn on the Kings Highway. So 705 Kings Highway, Brooklyn, 11223. Okay? Okay, the next query I'm going to run is I'm going to type DB restaurants dot find, and now I'm going to search for the restaurant called Posto. It's an Italian foods restaurant. This restaurant is at 310 2nd Avenue, Manhattan, 10003. It's an Italian restaurant, and its last cleanliness score was an A, and again, its name is Posto. Okay? The next query I'm going to do is just a general query. I'm going to actually just use the up arrow on the keyboard, and then I'll just delete everything inside. So I can just generally search all of these 25,000 plus restaurants. Okay, so here's a restaurant. On 1 East 66th Street, Manhattan. It's American food. Probably a deli. I mean, not a deli, but a diner. I would think, maybe. And it got a cleanliness score of A, and its score was 3. The lower the score, the better. So it's a really clean restaurant. And it's called the 1 East 66th Street Kitchen. So it's probably a diner, right? If I type it, I can get more records. Type it again, I can get even more. Now, Mongo can't show you all 25,000 records at once. So this is one way to kind of sift through all 25,000 plus restaurants in Manhattan that are in this data set. Okay, and I can keep doing that. This is the Vivand Cafe. It's at 1011 Madison Avenue, Manhattan. And it has grades of A, B, B, and then it had a C score here, right? Okay, so moving on. The next one we're going to do is we're going to remove a record. We're going to move a record. We're just going to remove a random one. Whoop. We're not going to really remove a random one. We're just going to remove one. So we're going to remove the first restaurant we come to that's in Queens, just for the heck of it, right? And the output says right result, number removed 1. Number removed 1. Okay. Now we could have removed one of the restaurants above, but we didn't. Okay, now we're going to create a record. Suppose the ZZZ Top Grill just opened. Whoop. Suppose the ZZ Top Grill just opened. So we're going to insert a new record, a new restaurant, right? So we changed the .find to .insert. And then we have a field called address. And within address, there are fields called street. And this restaurant's on 2nd Avenue. It has a zip code of 1075. And the building number is 1480. Notice that the fields are separated by commas, right? And the value of the field and the name of the field are separated by colons. See that? And this address has a subrecord, right? This is the subrecord. This is the record here with subfields. Okay, so we have to start that with a squiggly bracket and close with a squiggly bracket. And we go to the next field. The next field is borough. The next field is borough. And the value of that field is Manhattan. The next field is cuisine. And the value of that field is Italian. And the name of the restaurant is ZZ Top Grill. Okay, and this is kind of cool here. If I put my cursor on that parenthesis, I can see that it closes that parenthesis. If I put my cursor on that squiggly bracket, I can see it closes that squiggly bracket. So it's kind of like Python. Same thing here. If I put the cursor on that squiggly bracket, I can see that it closes that squiggly bracket of this sub record or this document. So address is a sub document, right? And then the whole thing is a document, right? So address has got 1, 2, 3 fields, and then this document has 1, 2, whoops, So 1, 2, 3, and 4 fields. Okay? When I hit enter, it says what? Number of records or documents inserted is 1. Now I can do a find on this, right? I can do a find. So I'm going to change the name here to, oh, sorry. Okay, so if I want to do a find, I can either type it manually or I can do the last find, right? So I'm using the arrow on the keyboard to do this. I want to verify that I did enter that ZZ Top Grill. So find the first dot find, change posto to ZZZ Top Grill. Hit enter, and sure enough, my record has been entered into there, right? Now, check this out. If I don't use the correct spelling and capitalization, what's going to happen? This capitalization has to be exact, which presents a problem in MongoDB, right? It doesn't see that. It doesn't think ZZ Top Grill with the lowercase g in grill is the same as that. These two are different, right? So the next query I'm going to do is dbrestaurants.find. And notice there's a $sign here and then right? And then address.zip code and then 1065 or 10065 and then Cuisine Donuts. So this query is saying, give me all the restaurants that have a cuisine of donuts and are in this zip code. I'll hit enter here. So let's just make sure we got this. That parenthesis is closed by this parenthesis. That squiggly bracket is closed by that squiggly bracket. Then I have a $sign and then a colon. And then that bracket is closed by that bracket. This squiggly symbol or squiggly bracket is closed by that bracket. And then I have, remember, zip code is a field inside of address, right? Zip code right here was a field inside of address, right? There was address dot zip code, address dot what building number, address dot zip code, and one other, I can't remember it, right? And then comma cuisine is a different field. So we're looking for the restaurants that are in the zip code and have a cuisine of donuts. We're going to hit the enter button here. And we only get 2 restaurants. We get this Dunkin' Donuts at 1225 First Avenue in Manhattan, New York, 10065. It's got grades of A, and it's a Dunkin' Donuts, right? It's also a Baskin Robbins, so it's a combination. That's quite common in New York City to have a Dunkin' Donuts and a Baskin Robbins together. And then down here, this is just a Dunkin' Donuts. See, that's just a Dunkin' Donuts here. And this one's in Manhattan, right? 1099 1 Avenue. Oh, it's the same one, it looks like. 10065. Is it the same one? Oh, this one's 1225. This is 100. So these are really close to each other, right? These are really close to each other. Okay. Now the next query we're going to run is going to be an OR. Now we're looking for restaurants that have a cuisine of donuts, which there's a lot of in New York City, or the restaurants in the zip code. Now this one's going to give us a lot of records, right? This one's going to give us a lot of records. Okay, there's the first set, the next set, the next set, the next. Whoops. So there's a lot of restaurants here, right? A lot of restaurants. The OR club is really inclusive, right? You only have to meet one of the criteria. The AND club is very exclusive. You have to meet both criteria. Okay, now we've finished it all up. We've got all those records, right? So let me show you something real quick. Okay, remember when we copied our path to our data set into Google Chrome? And our records came up, right? Well, if you do a Control F, and you type 10065 into the find bar, you'll notice that there are 173 restaurants in the 10065 zip code. Okay, so there were 2 in the intersection, right? When we did this query with the 2 criteria, there were 2 restaurants in the zip code and were also had a cuisine of donuts. In that zip code, there's 173 restaurants, right? Okay, now if we go back and do a search for donuts, we see that in New York City, there's 479 restaurants that have a cuisine of donuts. 479. So the number of restaurants that are in this zip code or have a cuisine of donuts is equal to the sum of those 2 big numbers minus the intersection. Because these two restaurants, they're in this category and they're in this category. So if you just simply add these up, you're going to overcount, right? Okay, so another way to think about this is 171 plus 2, right? And 477 plus 2, right? That is 173, and this is 479. Those 2 restaurants that were in the zip code and had a cuisine of donuts is 2. So if I add these 2 numbers up, I'm counting those 2 restaurants twice. So that's why I have to subtract off one of the 2's, right? So I have 650 restaurants that are in the inclusive club of zip code 10065 or in donuts with a cuisine of donuts, right? 2 in the intersection and 2 in the union, I should say, the union, right? So there's 2 in the intersection. There's 650 in the union, right? Cool. Okay, again, I'm going to use CLS to clear the screen. And my next command is going to be, my next query is going to be dbrestaurants.aggregate. So what this does is it's going to group by, this is kind of like Access, right? Remember our query in Access where we did a group by and then we did a count? Remember that? We clicked on the sort row, we clicked on totals, we clicked on count, and so we can group by, borough, and then count, right? So just make sure you have it right. dbrestaurants.aggregate, parenthesis, close parenthesis, right? And then square bracket, close square bracket, squiggly bracket, close squiggly bracket, right? And then we got group with a $sign in front of it. Group is a function, and the function has a $sign in front of it, right? And we got a colon. So we're going to group by borough. And the borough's got a $sign in front of it, right? And then we're going to count. We're going to count by using sum, and we're going to sum by 1. Okay? So we're going to hit enter here. And we get a frequency table. 51 of the restaurants have a missing borough. 5,655 restaurants are in Queens. 10,260 are in Manhattan. 2,338 are in the Bronx. 969 are in Staten Island. And 6,086 are in Brooklyn. And that's the tutorial.